let's get to it, guys. Front pages.
Good morning, my good friend. Let's start with the very important front page, the graphic showbiz, and it's saying that supportive mom still dogs my concert. This is from Fancy Gadan.
Totally cheated.
Yes.
I must see my lawyer.
The mom is supportive, but not in the physical appearance at the concerts. Anyway.
Okay.
Sarkodie and comedian Obi, good season for showbiz. There's one that Daniel should be interested in.
Okay.
My wahala after cosmetic surgery. Nana Freeman. So Nana Freeman is an actress. She's one of those who have openly supported Dr. Obinfo and asked people to go and do the kind of surgery that the man does. She said she went to do the surgery because she was hoping she'd be getting better and more roles in movies and all the other things that comes with that particular space.
And singing, she sings as well.
Yes. Apparently, the surgery that enhanced the body did not enhance her acting skills. It didn't also enhance her voice in any way. So even after the surgery, she's still not getting anything.
Why? She thought that the surgery will enhance her voice.
Yes. No, take your time. If the body is enhanced, but if you see a proper human being properly positioned before you, you look at the picture again.
I don't want to be accused of sexual harassment.
Yes. So
on.
her hope was that she was supposed to get roles and get all the wonderful things that comes with having to enhance your body. But it didn't happen. And she's so disappointed.
But at least it has done one thing. She's now more comfortable in her body.
Yes.
Yeah, which she has said a number of occasions.
So from within home, yes, okay, but the fruits thereof has not been.
You know what? Let's step away from the subject.
Okay.
All right. The Chronicle. That's my next paper. Capital Bank top officials charged with stealing money laundering after alleged extortion of 100,000 from small-scale miner. Seized excavator disappears in transit to Accra. Found burnt in Kutukrum forest for doing illegal mining. Top security man politician allegedly involved. The last story on the front page of the Chronicle, Otumfuo Council's Nana remain focused.
Now, the New Crusading Guide is reporting this morning government to increase investment in ICT, finish Kumasi roads. President is warning contractors, and Foreign Minister commends Canada for promoting economic development in Ghana. And William Atuesian and the Reverend Fizra Donko is on the front page of the New Crusading Guide.
And remember, you were talking that Nana Frema went to do her enhancement at where?
Obinfo.
Great. So Obinfo freed is on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Coup plotters charged with treason, Atuesian charged. Those are the stories on the front page of the Daily Guide.
And the story about the coup plotters is on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. One other story there is the Communications Ministry launches Miss Geek Ghana, and the Miss Geek competition is for small girls to be able to actually improve their ICT skills and compete in that space.
So literally small girls.
Yeah. Ghana Post set to grow market share. That's also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
The Daily Statesman, Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation to partner Presby Church to produce cotton bags. At last, the bankers will account. ACN 3 others charged as prosecutions of failed bank owners begin.
That's also the story on the front page of the Business Finder. The other story is Ghana is rated the 7th wealthiest country in Africa. Yeah, in Africa.
Second.
Yes, 7th.
7.
Yes, wealthiest country in Africa. And that's on the front page of the Business Finder. There's one about 1.4 million beneficiaries receiving 80 million LEAP cash. And that's on the front page too of Finder.
The Daily Graphic, 9 charged with treason. We know this back page of the Daily Graphic. The other story we've done already. President inspects projects in Bono. Woman arrested for selling people's personal documents. And this story was on Joy News yesterday. Let's stay with the Daily Graphic front page story on the matter relating to the charges that are being brought against William Atuesian, the founder of Capital Bank, and 3 others. Now, this came out yesterday. We had a charge sheet which was presented by the Attorney General, bringing charges against William Atuesian, Tetenete, Fitzgerald Odonko, and Kate Kortit Papafio. Now, these 4 have been charged with 26 counts of stealing, abetment, conspiracy to steal, and money laundering. And the total sum of all of the amounts involved in these 26 counts is 262.5 million Ghana cedis. That's the amount of money. And there are 8 different separate categories of amounts that these 4 persons are alleged by the state to have stolen or conspired to steal or laundered. That's the charges that have been brought against them. We know that there's actually a civil case again involving some of these persons, but even more in respect of the civil case. Some of the names in the civil case are not in the criminal case. We know that, and Daniel and I were having this conversation a little earlier. But these 4 have been charged with this. If you read the Boulders report, and I'm sure that in the course of the discussions this morning, we'll be dealing with some of the findings that the Boulders advisors found in their investigations into the matters relating to the operations of Capital Bank, matters relating to what they did with the liquidity support, how much of that money was transferred under circumstances that they described as unusual, and whether or not that money was paid back to the state. Some 482 million, which Boulders report said was missing, and that's something Atuesian in his interview with Paul Adumochiri said that it was not possible for him to be accused of stealing from himself. After all, we are told by lawyers that stealing is appropriating property belonging to another person with the intention of permanently depriving the person of its use. His point is, how can I steal from myself?
But he is not his company, Malik. Yes, so we have pierced the corporate veil in this, and using that legal expression for, we have gone beyond the company to sue the persons here.
A fictitious lawyer this morning.
I hate to sound like one, to be honest, but we've gone beyond the company to charge the persons behind the company. But at every point in time when they were dealing with it, it was him and his company separate, which is why in the civil case it is actually Capital Bank which is suing him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the Capital Bank says he stole from him.
You are absolutely right about that. In my conversations with Evans yesterday, I was pointing out that the lawyers will always tell us about a company being a separate legal entity from the directors, and the company has its own assets. The assets belong to the company. The company can sue and can be sued on its own terms, and therefore, if you take the assets of the company or things that belong to the company, you may not say that is your personal property. Of course, they have defenses to all of this, and I'm sure that they'll be rolling out those defenses when the trial begins.
Definitely. Now, of course, this is just legal opinion, having gathered that we were presented. Raymond, let's stay a bit further with the story.
Yes, veteran journalist, and she's also a media trainer, Doris Siadate.
Yes.
She actually wrote a very wonderful article in the Business Finder. It syncs with the comments that were ordinarily made on what happened in that particular incident. So you saw that interview, right? You saw that interview where the man who's now been dragged to court, William Atuesian, had with Paul Adumochiri on the collapse of the banks. Doris, in the article that she titles, "How Does a Sticky, Stinky Matter End Up in Speaking in Tongues?" states that, should the religious space be so tightly interwoven into the secular space to the point that they become inseparable? That's the question she's asking. She also says that, no, definitely no. She answers the question, should the sacred be separated from the profane? She believes that this should be the case. Her main problem is that when she watched that particular interview, she was shocked to have seen or heard William Atuesian speak in tongues. And speaking in tongues is glossolalia. That's a technical term for it. Now, she watched the interview again to be sure whether this was the same interview, but she watched the interview and realized that the man was talking about the banking issue and what really happened, and explaining to the people what really happened on the ground. And she was worried that the two could be put together, and to some extent, one could be hoodwinked into thinking that the person is holy. The person making the claims, as in William Atuesian's claims, are holy merely because he spoke in tongues and presented a very religious face in this case. So she has a couple of questions.
But that's assuming, Raymond, also that William Atuesian is guilty of all the things. As of this time, none of that is proven.
No.
Therefore, you cannot.
Like that. She's not assuming anything like that.
Okay.
All that she's saying is that merely speaking in tongues, and the question she's asking, merely speaking in tongues presents a holy approach. Mm-hmm. It is different from the secular conversation you are having there. It has nothing to do with the religious program. It has nothing to do with the claims that you are making in this particular case. In fact, she asked a couple of questions. She said, how on earth does an opportunity to explain this very sticky, stinky matter end up with speaking in tongues? What exactly was a tongue speaking supposed to convey to Ghanaians? Was it meant to instill fear in us so that we forget our money, or to win our sympathy? I'm imagining with $500 million, a lot of things could be done with it. So what she proceeds to also say is that, how does a holy person oversee the events that led to the collapse of the Capital Bank? Did he do everything right in a Christ-like manner, on another level, if he's such a big-time tongue speaker, how come he could not foresee the impending end of his bank to the point that he could have intervened spiritually to stop it from collapsing, or what really happened in this particular case?
I think it's a lot of words to use on someone speaking in tongues.
I guess that's the point I was trying to make, that at this point there is no contradiction between the explanations that he offered and the tongues that he spoke, because we don't have any evidence that any of the charges that have been brought against them have been proven yet.
And for you to ask, how could you not foresee?
It is when those charges are proven, then we can then say that there is inherent contradiction in the tongue speaking and the conduct of the man. But let's stay in the court, shall we? Unless Raymond has further things to say. So we know that eventually yesterday the 9 persons that, in fact it was supposed to be 11, but 9 were charged with treason yesterday. And the 9, if I may just run through them, are Kojo Gameli, Samuel Kojo Gameli, Warrant Officer Class 2, Esther San Dekuwini, Corporal Esiedu Abubakar, Lance Corporal Ali Solomon, Lance Corporal Sylvester Akampawen, and the other accused persons, Dr. Frederick Yao Makpam, who is a medical practitioner, Daniel Kafui, alias Ezo, a blacksmith, Bright Alan Debra, a fleet manager, and Gershon Akpa, a weapons mechanic at the Ghana Armed Forces. These are the 9 persons that the state brought charges of treason against them, and they were charged at the Kaneshie District Court yesterday. There are actually 4 essential counts: conspiracy to commit treason, felony. So conspiracy to commit treason, felony, that's 1 count. The other count is treason, felony proper. Then there's conspiracy to possess explosives, arms and ammunition without lawful excuse, and possession of explosives, arms and ammunition without lawful excuse. These are the 4 counts that have been brought against these persons. Now, 2 other persons relating to this matter are Lance Corporal Albert Baba Ibrahim and Lance Corporal Godwin Ni Ankra. These 2 were discharged yesterday after the prosecutor Sylvester Asari, ASP Sylvester Asari, brought the charge sheet that excluded charges against these 2. Now, these 9 persons, 5 of them military officers, 4 civilian personnel, belong to the Take Action Ghana movement. We know this. Now, prosecution's case is that these persons were planning to engage in demonstrations, engage in conduct that will lead to them taking over the government and generally causing instability in the country. The prosecutor said they found a map with them, and the purpose of this map was to allow them to have access to the broadcasting house, that's Ghana Broadcasting House, Burma Camp, the Jubilee House, the 37 Military Hospital, National Police Training School. All of these were targets that these persons had. And the prosecutor said the map was to facilitate the movement of the accused persons during the demonstrations to take over the government. This is what the prosecutors are saying. But defense attorneys led by Victor Kojoga Adawudu said, look, this is a complete setup. It's a sham. They have information that the person who set this up is actually called Sule, who is at large. So yesterday they were appealing to the court and saying, look, this court doesn't even have jurisdiction to try this matter in the first place. Therefore, let the people go. Now, ASP Asari responded to him and said, look, these are indictable offenses. And to that extent, the proper forum to come is the district court, where they will be indicted so that they can stand trial at the high court. The other development that happened in court yesterday was that the judge then, previously when they appeared before court, the prosecutor said that the people should be remanded in BNI custody because the Bureau of National Investigation was conducting the investigations, and that it was important to keep them there so that the investigators will have easy access to them as part of their investigations. But of course, there were complaints by defense attorneys that the families of these persons were not having access to them. So because of that, the court yesterday said that the military persons should be detained within the military, and the civilians should be detained by the police so that investigations can continue.
Now, there's also a court case you should be interested in. Mm-hmm. Remember the Dr. Benfo? His
the one we just
now, an Accra Circuit Court on Tuesday acquitted him, and his full name is Dr. Dominic Kwame Obin Andor. He's the proprietor of the Obinfo Hospital, which is located at Weja in Accra. He was charged for being an unregistered practitioner and operating an unregistered health facility, but the court said did not find Dr. Obinfo culpable because of the way the charges were framed by the prosecution. Take note of that. So the presiding judge, Justice Emmanuel Isando, who's a High Court justice as an additional circuit court judge, in a 100-page ruling said he's entered through the eye of the law that the charges were lumped together instead of separating them. Mr. Justice Ando also said that there are also inconsistencies in the evidence given by the prosecution witnesses. By so doing, the evidence was discredited and insufficient, leaving the court not convinced and unimpressed about the veracity of the case being explained by the people who represented the state in this case. According to the judge, the police did not give the accused the opportunity to confirm the evidence collected from his facility. The judge also described the charges as diametrically apart, saying there was no document to corroborate the offense of failure to operate without licenses. Of course, Dr. Obinfo's counsel in appreciation said that the ruling was decisive and extensive, which will stand as an authority for years to come for people to learn from and appreciate in the coming years. The lawyers had applied for submission of no case after the prosecution had made this case and the court ruled on it. Now, the Medical and Dental Council, this is the background to it. Somewhere in its routine monitoring in July 2015, received information that Dr. Benando had failed to renew his annual license to practice and to operate the private facility. Armed with such information, the council proceeded to make a complaint with the police, and the man was arrested in December 2016. You remember? And later on, when all of the incidents started happening again, remember, we were told that the former National Entrepreneurship Program, what do you call it?
Entrepreneurship Innovation Program.
Yes, Deputy Executive Director who died. They connected her to this facility. Yeah. And then it became a very big matter. People, because we have done stories here, which suggested that there was some wrongdoing happening in that particular institution too. Unfortunately, much of the work that was expected after that by the relevant state institutions did not happen. So the judge is saying, if you brought the charges in a more coherent manner, if you presented to me evidence that made a lot more sense, I could have actually convicted the person.
Can we move from the court
now?
Remember,
this is not the first time this is happening. Remember in the Ashawan case, he had to take Occupied Ghana to write and say that the charges were not proper.
That's true.
Before the charge sheet was amended. Anyway, so there's investigation being conducted. The Takwa Divisional Police is the one doing the investigations. And these investigations relate to an excavator which was seized by a group called Galam Stop. Galam Stop is an anti-galamsey body which has been set up by Small Scale Mining Association to try and fight illegal mining. Now, this group went and saw illegal mining happening elsewhere. So they seized two equipment, quite a number of equipment, amongst them 2 excavators. Now, when they seized these 2 excavators, the owners of the excavators, Opia Mensa, who is the owner of the excavators, who was using them to do illegal mining, offered these guys 100,000 so that they will not take away the excavators. They took the 100,000. Nonetheless, they took the excavators away. And the excavators were supposed to be brought to Accra for safekeeping. Now, they brought the excavators to Accra. The owners followed up because they know that when the excavators are kept in Accra, there are charges. So they followed up only to find that only one of the excavators was in Accra. The other one, they couldn't find it. Now, they started to trace the whereabouts of this excavator. They found it behind the police station at Kaswa. And they located it there, and then they started making efforts to retrieve it. Then it disappeared from Kaswa. They found it somewhere in the Pristiahoni Valley where it was engaged in illegal mining again. Then they raised questions about it. When they raised questions about it, it disappeared from there again, only for them to find it bent somewhere. Now, the story is that the day that they impounded this excavator, a respected chief in the Western region actually went to the site after the owners complained that these guys took 100,000 from us. They still don't want to release our excavator to us. The chief, when they made an intervention, the guys admitted that, well, they took only 40,000, but the 40,000 that they took was to use it as evidence of bribery against the people who were engaged in the illegal mining. Nonetheless, they tried to arrest the people. There was resistance. They disagreed. That money, nobody knows where it is. The excavator has been bent.
Interesting story coming there. So they allegedly paid 100,000 cedis to get the excavator back.
It's 500,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goil Good Energy. Now, Goil, your trusted indigenous and #1 oil marketing company, says Ayiko to our numerous customers. Your loyalty to the Goil brand has been rewarded again. We are now CIMG Hall of Fame Petroleum Company of the Year. After 3 consecutive years of success, we dedicate this award to you, our esteemed customers whose loyalty to the Goil brand we cherish. Always visit any of our 380 plus service stations for quality fuel, lubricants, and unmatched customer service. Buy Goil, Go Ghana, Goil Good Energy, Goil Yenara Yedia. Now, travel light, shop light, pay light, and live light with Zenith Bank's array of electronic banking products. Whether you're a corporate entity, or an individual, Zenith Bank has an electronic products to cater for your unique financial needs. Sign up today for Zenith Bank's electronic banking solutions and enjoy the convenience of banking on the go. Go light with Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank in your best interest. MyJoyOnline.com begins with short commission. Government white paper not white enough. This story was in 6 a.m. news this morning. Former Secretary to the IGP. Remain focused, deliver on your mandate. We've heard a lot of what President Akufo-Addo said when he was in Kumasi. So this is what Otunfo said to him when he was there. Remain focused, deliver on your mandate. Sexually provocative dressing should not justify harassment. The gender minister speaking there. Good morning, Cynthia Morrison. Other online stories, GhanaWeb.com, Sex for Grades, Professor Jampo acted childishly, lawyer Maurice Ampao, CityNewsroom.com, Committee probing sex for grades to start work next week. Audrey Gajekpo speaking there. Now, she is a lecturer at the University of Ghana herself. Take referendum seriously, Akufo-Addo to MMDCEs. The BBC.com says US did not approve Turkey's Syria offensive, says Mike Pompeo. And Tunisia presidential candidate Nabil Karoui has been released from jail. Still live on the Super Morning Show. Enjoy 99.7 FM. Happy birthday to you, Mapitso Sebidi. Stay with us, we'll be right back.